Vanakkam. Greetings friends. Learning is an art. It's an endless process. Learning gives joy. I am happy to invite you for this MOOC course which shows your learning passion. கற்க கசடர கற்பவை கற்றபின் நிற்க அதற்கு தக is 2 lines famous Tamil literature called as Thirukkural, written by the great poet Thiruvalluvar. கற்க கசடர கற்க கற்பவை கற்றபின் நிற்க அதற்கு தக means do learn well without blemishes which is worthy of being learned, and after that stand firm by what you have learned. Let me brief this MOOC course what you are going to learn. Once Buddha said, whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them for good or ill. It applies to all communicative medium including print, radio, television and web, which falls under mass media. In this course, we will learn about reporting and editing for print. This course is entirely dedicated for the students through MOOC who have completed 12th standard. The structure and style of this course is so simple. You will learn the best methods and practices to do news reporting and editing for print through this 10-week modules. Each week, one module will be explored and teach exclusive sections of the course. You will get 4 individual videos, not only the video lectures, but also you will get links, e-books, presentation, textual documents, wherein you can find the content discussed in every video, and you will practice quiz and sometimes few subjective test essays. At the end of the course, you will get knowledge on news reporting and editing along with video lectures and other materials. But you have to finish all your weekly quizzes and assignments to reach your term end test. Okay, let me introduce the syllabus of this course now. All modules will have more interactions and discussions on particular topics picked for the day. It is starting from where to find the news, how to report it, practical difficulties and options for reporting, the art of interviewing, how to edit the news, how to preserve the sources, hierarchy of organizational structure, newsroom culture, gatekeeping, additional news items, news treatment, the differences between print reporting, radio reporting and television reporting. These elements will be discussed from top to bottom in different perspectives to understand how reporting and writing will be a backbone of media and communicative platforms. Let's begin. I welcome all you to the first class of the first week module. In today's class, we will see about the definition of news, what makes news, why the news is important, news values and types of news. The title of the course is Reporting and Editing for Print. Reporting is the process of writing or preparing a news story on the newsworthy event to be printed or broadcast. Let us begin the course with the term news. How do you define news? As per the Collins Dictionary, news is information about a recently changed situation or a recent event. News is information that is published in newspapers and broadcast on radio and television about recent events in the country or world or in a particular area of activity. Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent events, is called as news. This explanation has given by Oxford Dictionary. News is defined differently by different scholars focusing on some of its aspects. The following definitions give you a bird's eye view on what news is. North, East, West, South. What comes from there makes news. News is something revealed. News is anything you did not know yesterday. News is a compilation of facts and events of current interest or importance to the readers of the newspaper printing it. News is anything and everything interesting about life and materials, all their manifestation. News is anything out of ordinary. News is anything published in a newspaper which interests a large number of people. We can explain news in some other way. N for newsworthiness means we have to think over that does the story contain news values. E for emphasis refers that does the intro contain the most important and interesting fact. The 5 W's and 1 H. 5 W's are who, what, when, where, why and how are called as 5 W's and 1 H. This W asks that do their answers exist in the story or not. S for sources of information refers to does the story identify or imply the sources where it is necessary. A news story may not have answers to all of them, but all these questions should be asked to identify the basic elements of a news story. The news in general may be defined as an accurate and objective account of the significant facts of a timely event or problem that is of interest to the readers of the newspapers which print the account. Walter Lippmann, the great American journalist, said that news and truth may not always be the same thing. He observed that the function of news is to signalize an event while function of truth is to bring the light the hidden facts. The press is like the beam of the searchlight that moves restlessly about, bringing one episode after another out of the darkness into vision. I hope that you understand the definition of news. Editorial Study Center of the Thomson Foundation lists 20 categories of what makes news in the book A Guide to Advanced Techniques in Journalism. They are novelty, personal impact, local news, money, crime, sex, conflict, religion, disaster and tragedy, humor, human interest, the underdog, mystery, health, science, entertainment, famous people, weather, food and minorities. Let me explain this. Novelty. Something that could happen but had never happened before is a news with novelty. For an example, if a dog bites a man is not news, but a man bites a dog is definitely news, right? Personal impact. What interest the average reader is having in his daily life is called as personal impact. the government employees strike, a new film release or Deepika Padukone marriage is their personal interest. Reader has a chance to identify with them. Local news. Any local news has an impact as its locality. A local bus crash with 3 dead can be more interesting than 60 dead in a plane crash on the other side of the world. Money. There is a definition for news as sex, money, crime. That is news. Money is always getting important among the people. The budget at national and state level, local schemes, taxes, the fall in commodities, prices, salary increments and economic crisis is news. Crime, especially murder which has a morbid appeal. News like murders or kidnapping of any popular person is of steady interest, even to those who profess that they don't read crime stories. More often than not, they do. 6. This is of frequent interest as can be gauged by the number of even the most respectable magazines that cater to this aspect of life. Also, the more sordid the sex, the greater curiosity about it. Conflict. Conflict between nations resulting in war, between man and nature resulting in the failure of one or the conquest of the other brings out readers' interest. Religion. In the secular country like India, religion takes an important part in regular life. Religious leaders and religious persons make news because they appeal to our emotions. Disaster and tragedy. Disaster and tragedy will change over the human life totally. Gaja cyclone that devastated Tamil Nadu. Tsunami that washed away thousands of lives around the world, including India, is few examples that would create the fear among the readers. Humor. Cartoons of noted cartoonists like R.K. Lakshman, Kesav, Surendran, Marudu draw a chuckle. See some cartoons here. Human interest. Human interest relating things occupy the news normally. Ordeal suffered, happiness experienced, stolen money recovered are coming under human interest. A wolf boy found in the jungles of Uttar Pradesh, an auto man returned the lost money are some examples of human interest. The underdog. The news about the common man gets the news value. The patient who wins a case against a rapacious money lender is an example. Mystery. How did it happen? Where was the body? Who discovered it? Under what circumstances? Suspense can keep a story running for days. Health. Miracle drug, medical advice columns are always popular items. Anytime there is a story of a cancer cure, it invariably finds place in the news column. Science. News items like space flights, inventions, development in communication and technology have triggered the most sluggish imaginations into demanding more information. Nobel Prize winners are always good for top billing. Entertainment. The world of entertainment always holds a fascination that is perennial as the stars and the heavens above. Who is making what film? Why was a certain play stopped? What is Rajinikanth's newest role? We are also having the interest to read this kind of news. Famous people. People, especially famous people, make news. Whether they are film stars, sports persons, musical personalities or men in high office, their doings never fail to catch the attention of the reader. Famous people are especially newsworthy if they fall from power, fall from grace or fall into evil times. Weather. In India, there is a sense of impending doom if the monsoon is delayed or fails entirely. School students are eagerly waiting for the news about the rain for their holidays, isn't it? Food. Next to weather, food and drink is of abiding interest. Shortage of food is news, so is a glut. Have the prices fallen? Are they going up or increasing the interest of food related news? Minorities. In every country, there is invariably a minority community and their treatment of problems are of special interest. Blacks in US and minority groups in India, they are in the news most of the time. We have discussed about what makes news. Let me ask a question to you now. Why the news is important? Till date, we can see many are searching the newspaper at early morning itself with their morning tea at their home and shops. Due to technology development, some of us are searching our mobile phones to know about the news. Why? 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 News is more valuable than a fact and information, and that affects us too. Sometimes the news changes our decisions. Based on the weather reports, we decide to carry on umbrella or not, or shall we proceed our travel plan or not. We are always having a curiosity to know the cricket scores, stock market status, details about entertainment events and political news. Any news happens at any place of the world, it creates the impact at all over the world. At the present scenario, the media satisfies the role of watchdog of the government. The media helps to monitor the social value system. The role of government administration and the political parties, cultural changes, success and failure of the events, sports and all aspects of life in our society. At the time of election, we are getting the details about the candidates, their background and service, the policies of potential leaders through news. By this, we will gain little needed information. As an individual, we could not make the laws directly, establish business policy or make decisions about regulations in various branches of government. The citizenry ultimately decides at the ballot box that will have oversight and control of the country. To exercise this power in the right way, the public needs good information. Obviously, accurate information leads to good decisions. Media may lead public opinion. At other times, media may reflect changing public attitudes. But there is no doubt that presentation of information by media is part of our self-governance. People watch news and read newspapers in search of factual information and at times to correct misinformation about a story. Without the credibility of offering accurate information, newsmakers have nothing. If a news organization loses its reputation for accuracy, it has nothing else to offer. At any given time, news in the mass media having these general guidelines. News is information about a break from the normal flow of events, an interruption in the expected and a deviation from the norm. News is information people need to make sound decisions about their lives. How does a reporter or editor determine what events are so unusual and what information are so necessary that the public should be informed of them? Journalists have established some gates called news values for answering these questions: timeliness, importance, prominence, proximity, oddities and consequence are the factors to determine the newsworthiness of events, personalities and ideas. Timeliness. A reporter focuses on today's events rather than the ones happened weeks ago. If a story occurred days ago, journalists try to report it in a new angle which is appropriate to the present situation, because they know that only new information or information presented in a new way will attract readers. Importance. Among the stories of a day, journalists prefer the important events that affects and interest as many readers as possible. While evaluating the stories for selections, journalists consider their magnitude. A tsunami that kills thousands of people is more newsworthy than a road accident that kills one or two. An increase in electricity charges more newsworthy than an increase in flight charge, because the electricity charge will affect more people than the flight charge. Prominence. Any prominent person will always be at the center of media's attention. Most of our news stories are about politicians, writers, artists, film stars and players, because they have a prominent role in the society or in the minds of readers. It is a fact that the readers have insatiable appetite for information about celebrities, and a good journalist should consider this, since his prime objective is to quench information thirst of the reader. Proximity. A road accident in Punjab kills 10 persons. Another accident in Tamil Nadu kills 9 persons. Which one will be prominently reported by the media in Tamil Nadu? Certainly the second one. Why? People prefer to know what happens in their neighborhood or locality or in their own communities. Proximity is not always geographical proximity, it is psychological too. If you have a lot of close relatives working in the foreign countries, you will be interested to know what happens to the immigrants there. Oddities. News should be something unusual, unexpected and controversial. It should be something that makes us surprise at least for a while. The fact that 2 people died in an accident is more newsworthy than the fact that thousands of commuters reached home safely after the kidnapping. Consequence. What makes an event important is what would be its effects in the society. The real event may be a simple court verdict, but if it results in a total change in legal view towards an issue that touches millions of people, it really matters. Then it is reported with prominence. Apart from these features, many other factors also determine the selection of a news story. Type of the events, whether tragedy or comedy, size of news, medium and nature of the community it serves, type of the technology used and the media are some such factors. We can categorize news in 2 types. First one is hard news and the next one is soft news. Hard news consists of basic facts, important public events, international happenings, social conditions, economy, crime, etc. The most of the material found in daily papers, especially from page items or newscast, deal in the hard news category. The main aim of the hard news is to inform. Soft news. This is a term for all the news that is not time sensitive. Soft news includes profiles of people, programs or organizations. Soft news, if cleverly written and carefully targeted, can offer an alternative. Soft news can cover business or social trends. Typically, soft stories have a human interest, entertainment, focus or a statistical and survey approach. A news feature explores an issue. News features are less time sensitive than hard news but no less newsworthy. They can be an effective way to write about complex issues too large for the terse style of a hard news item. They are about full of interesting people, ideas, color, lights, action and energy. A feature takes a certain angle. For an example, a group of village women succeed in a business and explores it by interviewing the people involved and drawing conclusions from that information. The writer takes an important issue of the day and explains it to the reader through comments from people involved in the story. While writing a feature, remember to balance your story. Present the opinions of people on both sides of an issue and let the readers make their own decision on whom to believe. The editorial expresses an opinion. The editorial page of the newspaper lets the writer comment on issues in the news. All editorials are personal, but the topics must be about the current issue and still to be relevant to the reader. Editorials try to persuade the readers. It is considered to be the most difficult writing among all the newspaper types of writing. Editorials are also important as they interpret and analyze issues for the readers. Okay students, in today's class we have learnt about the definition of news, what makes news, why the news is important, news values and types of news. In the next class, we will understand how we can cover news and how we can convert it into a news story, what are the chances we have, what are the difficulties we may face during the news reporting and the sources and its reliability. We will meet again in the next class. Thank you.